Yes. The right click advances it, the left click doesn't do anything.
Can you go backwards?
If you left click, the menu will come up and it'll say previous, but you have to scroll to do that, and that's a little awkward to do. But it can be done.
Yes, it gives you strong bones, it has much calcium, and gives you strong teeth. But what they don't tell us is that this is one of the leading causes of disease and death alongside of refined fats, carbohydrates, and salts. According to an article, Health Risks of Refined and Processed Milk by Stephen Horn, pasteurized processed milk is cooked, which destroys its natural nutritional value. Today I want to simply notify you on some of the dangers of processed dairy milk. To grasp this controversial topic, we will examine two main topics on processed milk. First, we will talk about how it is made, and then we will understand how and why it is so hazardous to people's health today. Although the pasteurization of processed milk gets rid of many harmful bacteria as stated by the Food and Drug Administration, the process will also harm the human body as well. In the article, Don't Drink Your Milk by Dr. Joseph Mercola, he explains that the process of milk starts with the cows. Modern feeding methods for cows today would be a high protein and soy-based diet, substituting fresh green grass in order to produce cows with abnormally larger pituitary glands, enabling them to produce 3 times more milk than the ordinary cow. After these cows produce this artificial milk, it's then pasteurized, being heated to high temperatures, killing all of the valuable enzymes. Without these enzymes, the body will experience complications in milk digestion. I'm going to show you guys a video. Attention to us big show.
Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to share with you a little bit about the dangers of milk. Again, we get a lot of press about milk being good for us, gives us lots of calcium, helps us build healthy strong bones and strong teeth. But again, research has been found the opposite findings, so I'd just like to share with you something about that. First of all, danger number 1, the pasteurization of the milk, so that's the cooking process, that kills pretty much everything that's within the milk. So all the minerals, all the vitamins that might be in the milk get killed when it's cooked in the pasteurization process. Danger number 2, there's no doubt there's calcium within milk, but the excessive amounts of milk interferes with the calcium absorption because of the high amounts of lactose, which is sort of milk sugar, basically, which when it breaks down in the body, breaks down to lactic acid. So it uses again the calcium to sort of neutralise the lactic acid instead of contributing to bone strength.
That's pasteurization. You can see the milk up, so it will kill enzymes. So alongside pasteurization, there's also homogenization, which according to National Health 2009 is the worst thing dairymen did to milk. When milk is homogenized, it's pushed through a filter, making fat globules smaller, enabling milk to bypass digestion. Therefore, proteins that are normally digested in the stomach aren't broken down and instead go straight to the bloodstream. Since proteins are created to be easily broken down by digestion, the homogenized milk that has entered the bloodstream enables the body to react to foreign proteins by producing histamine and mucus. And that's homogenization. Histamine and mucus is our natural reaction to drain germs, which explains why the doctor tells you not to drink milk while you're sick. It will only make it worse. Being one of the leading causes of death and disease, pasteurized milk can also lead to tooth decay and can even affect height. According to the article, The Dangers of Pasteurized Milk by Tanya Caswell, milk plays a significant role in various health issues such as prostate cancer, anemia, ovarian cancer, leukemia, and more. In a 12-year Harvard study of 80,000 nurses, studies have shown that a high intake of milk increases the risk of bone fractures. These dangers of milk come from the homogenization. After enzymes are destroyed through the heating process, a specific enzyme called xanthine oxidase enters the bloodstream and reacts against arterial walls. So the body also reacts by histamine. Not only does it react by histamine and mucus, but it also reacts by trying to protect this area with cholesterol, which leads to high cholesterol. According to Dr. Spring of the Health Science Institute, antibodies made to digest milk destroy insulin producers in the pancreas, which can also lead to diabetes. Lastly, milk contains pesticides, fertilizers, herbicides, and the commonly known bovine growth hormone. What the health industry is feeding us may seem good, seeing it has calcium and builds strong bones, because we all want to be healthy. Today we learned two main topics about processed milk. First we talked about how it's made, then we understood the hazards of pasteurized milk. An alternative to drinking processed milk is raw milk. Unfortunately, raw milk is illegal in about a dozen states. So because it's illegal because it can easily be contaminated, and the only way to consume raw milk would be if you lived on an actual farm to grow it. So you may also drink, these are alternatives. You can drink almond milk, rice milk, coconut milk, and soy milk, which are much healthier, especially if you have allergies and it doesn't trigger eczema, which pasteurized milk does. So whenever you want to drink milk, think about all of the diseases and illnesses consumed with what seems to be the rich and tasty glass of pasteurized milk. Is it all worth it?
All right, Nick, what did you think?
Well, overall, to me, I felt like it was a good presentation. She came with something that we weren't expecting her to come with, which was milk, which is another good thing because it wasn't something that's common. And of course, she was nervous. We all are nervous, but other than that, she came good with the details. That's it.
Thank you.
Are you ready?
Excuse me. I don't think we do. It would be a good thing to have, but it would disappear quickly. All right, Andy, I like the attention device. I like the fact that you start with kind of this quote about what it is that milk is supposed to do with us without telling us what the product is, and then you reveal it, so there's a little bit of suspense going on there. And then you've got a dramatic claim or statement about the danger of milk. I think that's okay. That gives us a justification for listening. I didn't think that there was a very clear preview of what the content was going to be, but there was a very clear statement of what the goal of the speech was. By the way, that goal ends up sounding a lot more persuasive than it is informative. It's like you're making an argument about milk and then advising us for a solution. So the structure ultimately could be, 70% of what you're presenting is the problem, and the last 20%, 30% there is a solution to the problem, which typically goes with persuasive speeches. I don't know that it has to be persuasive in nature, but I think that last section really tends to focus on that. The body of the speech, you've got a lot of information that you're citing, and I think that that's good, but I do think you want to tell us, especially because this is a subject that's going to be, like you said, controversial, and it flies in the face of most people's personal experience. You want to tell us who these people are that you're citing. You mentioned the doctors, for instance, but what's their expertise in? What fields do they come from? What's their research based on? The only research that I heard specifically referred to that was given any sense of credibility was the Harvard study that you talked about with the nurses, and I thought that was a pretty good piece of information. Everything else sounds like it's coming from people who are advocates of either organic milk or not consuming milk whatsoever, and a lot of it is very conclusionary. So I think you want to make sure that you give us the data that supports it. I thought, for example, that there's this presupposition about diabetes that gets presented. There needed to be an explanation of that. I think that there's a good argument there, but it doesn't get developed. There's not any evidence presented to support it except the conclusionary statements of some of the advocates that you're presenting, and that happens a lot in the speech. It's like you've taken the conclusions of the people that you did the research from and presented those conclusions without telling us how they arrived at those conclusions. And I think that that hurts the content of the speech because you're running into, like I said, you're talking about a subject that I think people feel pretty familiar with, and you're asking them to believe something completely different. I mean, there's one claim that you made that, a couple of times in the speech, that it's the leading cause of death and disease, and I'm going, really? That it's the leading cause of death and disease, that's a pretty dramatic claim. I'm going to need some pretty dramatic proof on those points. The visuals are okay at structuring the speech. They do a little bit more to structure the speech than anything else because there wasn't really a preview, and I don't think that you have a very clear structure except for that problem-solution sort of approach that we see. Here are all the things that are problematic with milk, and then here's the solution, drink these other kinds of things, rice milk, almond milk, or organic milk as a solution to the absence of the enzymes. There was one video clip that you showed. Where are you? I know you're here somewhere. I'm talking to you. There you go. There you are. There's one video clip that you showed that I thought was kind of interesting, although it basically mimics the same thing that you're doing. It presents the same kinds of information in the same way. There's not any detail in it. And in fact, there was one point that I just listened to what the person was saying, and I said, I just know that's not true. You can't kill a mineral. So when he says it kills all the minerals and vitamins in the, that's the line in the video clip, I'm going, well, you can't kill a mineral. It's not alive. So what is this person talking about here? And that's one of those things that raises questions about the credibility of these folks. Are they just, health cranks, who write for each other about what's horrible, awful, bad? I mean, the world's full of people who they'll tell you not to eat anything. Brown rice, that's bad for you. White rice, that's really bad for you. Dirt, that's what you can eat. And water, but only water that comes from certain kinds of wells. The fact that they've written an opinion doesn't necessarily mean that it's supportable, and that's what I'm saying that you need to get more of into your speech. All right. Thank you.